Hi everybody, and welcome to Garden Style. Well, it is a gorgeous day today. We got into the 70s and it's still fall, which is amazing. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about my top 5 picks for fall planting, and this will include mostly deciduous shrubs that I'll be talking about today. And the reason I decided to pick the top 5 is I've had personal experience with each and every one of them that I'm about to introduce you to, and they are probably the most amazing plants that I've put in the yard for outstanding fall color. And the first one I'm going to introduce you to is sitting right here behind me, and this is called a burning bush. It is actually a part of the euonymus family, and they come in all different sizes. This particular variety that's behind me will actually get about 10 to 15 feet tall if I let it get that tall. I'm trying to keep them trimmed now. And these were in another part of the yard, and they were actually in the shade. So this is about as brilliant as I have ever seen them because they are out in the full sun. And most of what I'm going to be covering with you today are full sun plants, and of course deciduous. So the burning bushes are usually good between zones 4 and 9. They are not fussy about the soil that they're in. However, I always recommend putting a good compost in with them. But once they're established, they just take care of themselves. I just love them. And all I have to do is an early spring pruning to keep their shape, and they will come out with these brilliant stems, and they're just brilliant color throughout the summer and the fall. And then they do this, which is amazing. So a lot of folks aren't real clear as to why leaves turn their color in the fall. So I thought I would clear that up a little bit. When trees and shrubs start to leaf out in the springtime, and all that green that you see is actually the chlorophyll that is filling up those leaves with the green color that you see. And the chlorophyll, of course, is brought up by the sun. So as the days get longer, they of course get greener. But the other colors that you're not seeing in those leaves, the oranges, the reds, the yellows, those are actually just taken over by all the chlorophyll that is happening in the leaves during the springtime. But as we get into the fall and the daylight starts to wane a little bit and temperatures start to drop, then all of a sudden the chlorophyll that you're seeing in the leaves starts to move out and actually disappear. And when the green chlorophyll disappears, it leaves behind the other colors that the leaves still have in them, which are the reds and the yellows and the oranges that you see. So a little scientific knowledge there for you as to why leaves turn color the way they do during the fall. Now, a lot of folks think that frost and really cold temperatures are what brings on the fall color, but that's actually not true at all. What actually tells a plant to start going dormant, basically, and start turning color like they do behind me is all due to the fact that the temperatures are starting to drop just a little bit. That has a little bit of an effect, but mostly it's the daylight. As the daylight wanes, so does the chlorophyll in the leaves. The green starts to wane. And then the other colors that are left behind are these brilliant, fabulous colors that you start to see in the fall before the leaves actually drop off the plant. All right, so this is my number 1 pick for a fall plant in your yard. And burning bushes can be used as hedge plants. They can be used as a specimen plant in your garden, as well as a screening plant. These make great screens during the summertime when they have all their leaves on them. And the stems are actually really pretty in the winter. Okay, on to the next specimen. Okay, so the next specimen I'm going to talk about isn't quite in the ground yet. This is something I purchased a couple of months ago because I got a really good price on him. And believe me, he's going to be going in the ground today. But this is probably my second pick for fall color, and that is an oak leaf hydrangea. These are amazing plants. Now they can come really tall. They can get as high as 10, 15 feet tall, some varieties. But this particular variety I wanted small. And this is called a peewee hydrangea. And this one will get maybe 4 feet tall. It's definitely a deciduous flowering hydrangea. But unlike other hydrangeas, their leaves actually look like oak leaves. They're pretty amazing. And absolutely beautiful, of course, during the spring and the summer with their big oak leaf shaped leaves. And then, of course, they get the panicles on them, the flowers, during the summer, late summer, just like a regular hydrangea. And then once those fall off and the light gets lower, as well as the temperatures, this is what you get. You'll start to get this brilliant red. And this one is just now starting to turn, but you can already see that some of the leaves are like a real bright red, crimson red. And they will do that for quite a while. They'll actually stay this way until probably the end of October before they finally drop all their leaves. But just love these plants. And the other thing that I like about oak leaf hydrangeas is they can take just a little more sun than regular hydrangeas, which normally like shade. This guy is going to go in a part sun area. And I'm looking here to see what the zone is on this guy. And this guy is good from zones 4 through 9. So it's a very hardy shrub. And of course you don't want to trim them at all until the early spring. This particular guy, I might give him a little bit of a trim when I go to put him in the ground. If I lose a few flowers for next spring, that's okay. But for the most part, when you go to trim these, try not to get back into the woody part. And for the most part, I'm probably not going to touch him at all, except for maybe the tips, just to give him a little more shape. As you can see, he's kind of all over the place. But another gorgeous plant that you can get 3 really good seasons out of. Spring, summer, and of course fall is when they really start to stand out. So my second top pick for fall. Moving on to the next specimen. Now, of course, who can resist maples? They are by far a fabulous pick for planting in the fall. This one happens to be a red leaf maple, and as you can see, it is starting to get that bright, brilliant crimson red in its leaves. And I will go through and just start showing you some pictures of maples, different shapes, different varieties, and different colors, as they are by far my third top pick for planting in the fall. Look at that beautiful golden bronze color. Another beautiful maple. And this is normally a brilliant lime green during the spring and the summer. As you can see, it's starting to get that bronzy yellow color to it. Definitely a sign of fall. And of course, there's the ever famous Japanese maple. And big difference between the other leafy maples that I showed you, just due to the fact that their leaves are so finely cut. Really pretty, graceful type trees. This hasn't quite started its fall color yet, just due to the fact that it's sitting in the shade. And it's usually one of the last of the maples to start turning a brilliant fall red. But I'll put a picture up here in the corner here just to give you an idea of what it will look like here in a couple of weeks once it does start turning. But highly recommend these trees, and they're very, very hardy. These are good from zones 4 through 9, and they're even beautiful in the wintertime just because of their graceful stems. So maples, my third top pick for fall planting. Blueberry bushes. Who knew that this would be a top pick for planting in the fall? Now this one, of course, has not turned, but the beautiful thing I love about blueberry bushes is they just look pretty all year round. In the spring, of course, they have this beautiful green foliage. Then they have blooms on them, which in turn turns into blueberries, something you can eat. But they are one of those specimens, as you can see in the picture above, that just turn this brilliant crimson color in the fall. So don't be afraid to plant these deciduous shrubs as a hedge, any type of full sun area, because these plants will do really well and will serve you well just because they're edible, number one, and they're just brilliant in the fall. So my fourth top pick for fall planting deciduous shrubs. Barberries. Aren't these amazing? I'm going to zoom out a little bit here just so you can see this shrub. This is going to turn a brilliant red-orange here in a couple of weeks, as you can see in the picture that I have there in the corner. But I wanted to show this to you now because this is one of my favorites, no matter what time of year it is, just due to the fact that it has a beautiful fountain shape to it and will turn a brilliant color during the fall. And in the wintertime, the stems are kind of a reddish color, so you've got interest as well in the wintertime just due to the stems once it drops all its leaves. And look how beautiful it is with the blue from the sage that's sitting in front of it. But yeah, barberries, my fifth top pick for deciduous shrubs to plant in the fall. So this isn't necessarily a deciduous shrub, but I had to throw this in at the end. This is amazing perennial. This is called Goldenrod, and now it is in its glory here in the fall. As you can see, it's just this gorgeous fountain color, and look at these flowers. They are amazing, and these you can bring inside. This perennial is very hardy from zones 4 through 9. It takes full sun, and as you can see, it gets about 3-4 feet tall. It's almost as tall as I am. And you'll notice that I have coneflowers here. They're starting to die back. And I actually leave them on the plant. I let this die back just as it is. Same with rudbeckias. I'll go around the other side and show you what I'm letting them do. But these leave seeds behind as well for the birds. And I have found that perennials like this just seem to do better when I don't touch them. I just leave them alone. But you see how they turn black. Their little cones just start to turn dark. And they will hang on to those cones, you know, until I see snow or something wrecking the plant. But I just let these things die back naturally. I don't fuss over them, and they actually add a lot more interest to the winter garden as things start to die back. So, and the birds love them too. So, just had to throw that in at the end. So as you can see, I'm letting the rudbeckias die back. But they actually create a beauty all of their own when they start to die back and they leave their little seed heads behind. And the birds absolutely love them. And as soon as they're going to seed here, they're almost there, but not quite. And you'll see the birdies in here just having a heyday on the harvest. All right, you guys, so there you go. My top picks for fall planting as far as deciduous shrubs go. So hopefully you picked up a little extra information out there, and by all means go visit your nurseries because they're on sale right now. They're trying to push these plants out, and this is the perfect time of the year to be planting your trees and shrubs. In fact, it's easier on them during the fall than it is during the spring when you're putting them in the ground. And the main reason why is because temperatures are cooler, they're getting a little more moisture, a little less daylight, but at the same time the ground is still warm in the fall. So the moment you put it in the ground, those roots are raring to go. So by all means, get down to your nurseries. All right, any questions or comments, of course, you can get a hold of me at GardnStyleNW.com or my email at GardnStyleNwest@gmail.com. Again, I want to thank all the new subscribers. It's growing like crazy. And hopefully you guys are also picking up some more information and learning a few new things for your own yard. That's my whole reason for being here, is to try and inspire you guys and of course teach you at the same time. All right, hope you guys are having an awesome fall, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.